If you're sitting at your kitchen table in the US or Canada right now, typing into Google apartments in Mexico or homes for sale in the Yucatan, I've got some bad news for you. You are looking at a completely different market than the locals are. The moment you search in English, you enter a parallel universe designed for high-end tourists and corporate investors. You're shown slick, dollarized vacation listings, $2,500 a month beachfront condos, and speculative pre-construction pitches. It makes it look like retiring to Mexico on a Social Security budget is entirely impossible. But today we are shattering that wall. Whether you're looking to buy a permanent home or, like many smart retirees, planning to rent long-term to preserve your nest egg, I'm going to share the 3 insider secrets successful expats use to lock in legitimate local rate properties in Mexico at very affordable prices. Now, you might be thinking, Bill, that's easy for you to say, but everything on the local markets is in Spanish. Well, let me tell you a secret. I didn't speak Spanish either, beyond taco, tortilla, and tequila. I didn't learn a lick of the language until I was in my early 50s. If a guy like me can pick it up later in life, I promise you can too. But you don't need to be fluent at all to completely bypass the tourist markup for renting or buying your dream home in Mexico. Let's start with secret number 1. To get local prices, you have to use local plumbing. If you look for rentals on Airbnb or English expat portals, you're paying a massive premium for short-term vacationers. Mexican home sellers and landlords looking for stable, long-term tenants simply don't list there. They list on domestic Spanish-language portals that the average expat never finds. The undisputed heavyweight king of these platforms is a site called Inmuebles24.com. It's a national site, meaning whether you want an affordable rental in the Yucatan or you're planning to scout La Paz on the West Coast or the cities in the colonial highlands, this is where the real data lives. Now, when you first log on to a domestic portal like this, it can feel a bit overwhelming. The language is native, the search logic is different, and you have to know how to filter down past the city level straight into the specific colonias or neighborhoods where you actually want to live. But establishing this baseline is the single most important step in your scouting journey. It does 2 things. It protects you from the Gringo Tax, and it gives you a rock-solid, data-driven understanding of the actual market value. In fact, we're filming a complete step-by-step walkthrough on exactly how to navigate, filter, and decode this specific website next week, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that. Secret number 2 is using social media to find local landlords. Every single major expat destination, like Lake Chapala, Mérida, and San Miguel de Allende, for example, have numerous hyper-local Facebook community groups. Even smaller up-and-coming retirement destinations like Chetumal or Valladolid have several active Facebook groups. Sellers and landlords regularly completely bypass realtors and drop simple posts in these groups. But here's the critical execution tip for renters. You must clarify that you want a long-term lease. In Mexico, if you ask for a 1-month, 3-month, or even a 6-month rental, you'll be quoted the highly inflated seasonal snowbird rate. But the moment you tell a local landlord you're an expat looking to sign a solid 1-year contract, or contrato por un año, your pricing leverage doubles. Landlords heavily value the stability of a year-round tenant who pays on time, and your monthly rent will plummet accordingly. By bypassing the short-term vacation market and securing a formal 12-month lease through local connections, expats typically see an average savings of 30 to 50% compared to the inflated monthly rates of a 1 or 3-month temporary stay. Think of an annual contract not just as a place to live, but as a strategic home base. If you're saving 50% by signing a long-term lease, that annual contract often costs the same as 6 months of short-term inflated vacation pricing. Essentially, you can travel for half the year, back to the US to see family, or exploring other regions in Mexico or Latin America, and you're still breaking even compared to someone paying month to month. You get the security of a permanent address, a place to store your gear, and total freedom of movement, all for the same price as someone who is constantly packing and unpacking. Secret number 3 is the ultimate reality check for low-cost living. A massive percentage of property owners in Mexico don't use the internet at all. They buy a neon green se renta, meaning for rent, or se vende, meaning for sale, sign from the local stationery shop. They write their WhatsApp number on it and hang it on the front gate. This is why you can't execute a Mexican retirement purely from your computer. If a property is only advertised on a physical cardboard sign on a side street, it's completely invisible to the digital world. But to the local market, it's a prime listing. And because the landlord isn't paying platform fees or international marketing commissions, the price is often the lowest you will ever find. But to capture these hidden gems, you need a dedicated scouting trip. You have to walk the residential streets, look for those physical signs, and talk to the people who live there. More importantly, this approach is how you find an independent local real estate agent who explicitly works the neighborhood market, someone who actually knows the local landlords and knows which houses are coming up for rent even before they hang the sign. This is a completely different world from the high overhead tourist agencies sitting on the main tourist strip. Those tourist-facing agencies are looking for premium dollar from vacationers. The local independent neighborhood scouts are the ones who can help you secure true local pricing. So let's put it all together. When you combine the baseline market data from domestic websites with the local networking of Facebook groups and then validate it all with boots on the ground looking for physical signs, you don't just find a place to live, you master the local market. To help you map this out, I've summarized all 3 of these strategies, along with the major financial gringo gotchas like the remate bancario, foreclosure traps you must avoid, all into a free one-page download called the GeoPension Mexico Real Estate Cheat Sheet. You can scan the QR code right here on the screen or click the link in the pinned comment below to grab your copy. This exact methodology, using domestic platforms, auditing local rental infrastructure, and applying clear financial guardrails, is what forms the foundation of my GeoPension framework. If you want the complete step-by-step written playbook on how to apply these rules to your relocation, grab my book, How to Retire to the Yucatan on a Social Security Budget, available right now on Amazon. And remember, this system isn't just for the Yucatan. Next month, I'm taking this exact framework on a massive 3-week road trip through Baja California Sur. We're going straight to La Paz, which I consider the Mérida of the West Coast, to audit their local rentals and infrastructure using these exact local strategies. Finally, knowing that domestic real estate platforms like Inmuebles24.com exist is only half the battle. Because that site is designed entirely for locals, it's 100% in Spanish. In my next video, dropping in just a few days, I'm going to bring you along for a live screen capture masterclass. I'm going to show you a one-click browser trick that translates the entire platform instantly into English. I'll walk you through how to find properties, and then I'm going to show you how to read the raw Spanish filters so you don't miss the best deals. If you want to rent or buy like an insider in Mexico, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments below, what are your plans? Renting or buying or just not sure yet? I'll see you in the next video.